let me tell you about all the ways that I've been told I'm doing it wrong as a spiritual leader and why I couldn't care less. By being told, I don't actually mean people coming up to me and telling me, hey, this is wrong, you should do this differently. But I mean in a way that we often have this feeling that we need to adapt to the spiritual community in a way to be part of it, especially as a creator, especially as someone who has offers and who's guiding others. And I see that a lot in my clients as well. They need a certain amount of time to get the confidence and to build the confidence to really shine in their own light, because so much in the outside world is trying to dim their light, and they are inspired by others, but they also feel like they need to adapt to others. And I'm no exception. I needed to find my own way as well, and I'm still in the process of doing that. To be completely vulnerable with you, YouTube, for example, is a place where I'm still finding myself, where I've spent too much time looking at what other people do, looking at how they edit their videos, looking at what their aesthetic looks like, and all these things that we should really truly find our own way of doing. And I am tapping into my magic this new year. So 2025 is the year where I told myself, I will not consume as much content, even though it is inspiring and I love to see other people's inspiring work. And I will instead focus on creating more, not letting myself be influenced by other people's energy, not letting myself be inspired and then confused if what I do is the right way to do it. Because I want to practice what I preach and I help my clients find their own essence. And it is really easy for me in places where I'm confident. Like I started out in this very ecstatic way on Instagram. And that is how I grew my following. People loved me for that ethereal energy that was radiating through every piece of content I made. And I did a lot of self reflection. And while I kept helping other people find their way of doing that, I could not translate that to other platforms. I could not translate that to YouTube, for example. And I'm done with that. I'm going to now. And if you're currently watching on YouTube, you may see that this video looks a little different than from what you are used to from other creators. So I really took that break to tap back into my own magic, to tap back into what made me successful in the first place. And I know how easy you can lose yourself. I'm not saying I completely lost myself. I always had my aesthetics and my way of expressing myself and my way of doing things. I'm really confident in that, and I'm confident in helping others find their own unique essence. But what I've also noticed is that the more you look around to get inspired, the less connected you are with your own genius and with tapping into your own creative channels. What I'm taking into this new year is that all the things that I've been doing differently over the years have made me successful in what I do, have made me stand out, have made me the leader that I am today, and the spiritual teacher and the guide that I am today, and that I don't need to dim my own light to fit in, and that I shouldn't be in my head all the time about how I should start the video, what the hook is going to be like, and what the aesthetics is going to look like to catch people in the first second, and what my visual hook is, and all these things that are being thrown around in our industry like crazy. Of course, these things are important. You need to know strategies, you need to know social media, you need to know what you do with your content, and you need to be intentional 100%. But don't let your own creativity and your own soul, that is the core of all of your content, be diluted by all these mind-based things, by all the thinking it over and thinking it over and finding a better hook and finding a better editing and adding more cuts so the video is more engaging, and all these things that are so based on the mind. They are actually keeping you from tapping into your own genius and from expressing your divine mission in a unique way, because you came here to this earth as a unique light worker, and your way of teaching the same thing can attract a whole different group of people. So if I were to talk about a certain topic and you were to talk about a certain topic, we would most likely not call in the same people because we are different. We have a different energy. We talk about things differently. We creatively express things differently. And coming back to that realization of, oh my God, I've been falling down that trap that so many of my clients have been falling into for the last couple of years, made me snap back for a moment and take a breath, center myself, and realign myself, because it's so easy to fall into that trap. And I think it's a good thing that it happened to me, that I felt like I was losing myself a little bit and not really being in my heart anymore with what I do, because now it's so much easier for me and so much deeper, so much deeper for me to understand if someone is in that situation currently. So I feel like I had a very strong brand, a very strong visual brand all this time that I've been on social media. And I've been on social media for quite a while. And I never doubted that, or I never struggled with doubting what I do. But the last year, like 2024, on a personal level, was a very challenging year. And I was not at my highest with mental health and with just not feeling great. I had a lot of anxiety. I was doubting a lot of things. I was just not at my best, and it was hard to keep my vibration up because so much on the outside was happening that was just trying to drag me down. I completely gave myself space for that expression because stuff was going on that I could not just brush over. I could not just ignore. I could not just meditate that away. I just had to be in that, had to be present with that. But I feel like this straining situation, this very exhausting year, was one of the reasons why I felt like I lost my spark a little bit. It's not that I didn't continue. It's not that I was no longer dedicated to my work. My mission is so incredibly important to me that I would never abandon that. Even if things get tough, even if things are hectic and stressful and traumatic, I will always find a way to reconnect to that because I know that this is my purpose. It's not just a hobby I have. It's not just that I chose to share on social media because I was bored or because I wanted the followers. It is coming from so deeply within. I really, really feel connected to my mission. So I will never abandon it. But I noticed that I was doing a lot of things on autopilot because I was so drained, emotionally drained from everything that was happening around me. So I just felt like I was on autopilot, and I just kept pushing out content that was still good, that was still aesthetic, that was still valuable for other people. And I got the feedback that it was valuable. And I worked with so many amazing women. I had one of the most powerful group experiences in my mentorship in 2024. So that was a big win. And I loved that time, and I loved working with them. I'm lighting up as I'm talking about it. But on a personal level, with my own content and with my own work and with my day-to-day work schedule, I felt like I was so on autopilot, and I was like, oh my God, I really need to taste my own medicine and reconnect with my cosmic self. And funnily enough, a spiritual awakening always deepens in a way that you would not expect. And throughout my entire journey that I've been on, that is over 15 years of having cosmic downloads, being on a spiritual journey, learning about myself, my soul, the cosmos, I've always noticed that a spiritual awakening keeps happening. It's not a one-time thing. It deepens and deepens and deepens. And at one point you're like, oh my God, what else is there to learn? And then the universe will show you what that is. But what I've noticed is that it comes in waves. So whenever you go through a phase where you feel disconnected and rather low and not as connected as you used to be, that is not actually happening. You are just as connected, because connection cannot be blocked anymore if you're still open to receive, if you're still on that level of consciousness. Once accessed, you usually don't really change that. You can be distracted, you can go through things, but your level of consciousness and your level of access to your own higher dimensional aspects usually doesn't change. So what's really happening is that you are ready to level up, and you are going through a phase of feeling disconnected, feeling low on energy, feeling low vibrational, because there is something else that wants to be explored, and you're about to level up. 2024, I felt like I was not vibing high. It was hard to keep my energy up and to keep myself up. And I'm not going to go into detail because that's not my place. But my family had a lot of traumatic experiences happening, and we went through a major health scare that was far worse than you would probably imagine right now, just puzzling this together. So far worse than you can imagine. And yeah, it was just very draining. And I felt like I was more disconnected than usual. I felt like I was not as magnetic, not as open hearted as I usually am. And I felt that also in how I expressed myself. I was, even though I created content in that year and I had one of the best rounds in my mentorship, on a public level, it was really hard for me to show up in my fullest expression. In my containers, in my coaching containers, that was never an issue because it's such a heart based person to person connection, and it's such a beautiful, safe space. I always thrive in that. But with my content and with my public image and with my publicity, if you could call it that, I really struggled. I felt like I was not magnetic. I felt like I was not in my most powerful self, in my most powerful expression. And other things in my personal life also suffered from this draining year. I gained weight because my diet wasn't as good as it usually is. I didn't feel good in my body. I didn't feel like I was in my most vibrant, highest expression. I also started doubting myself a lot because of that, because I was like, oh my God, I'm meant to lead and guide other women to their most powerful expression, to connecting with their cosmic self, to expressing their divine mission in a way that makes them happy and creates a successful, abundant, thriving life for them. And I just felt like nothing in my life was moving forward, and I was at this stagnation point. And it took me a while to realize that this is something that came up for me, like on a personal level, these struggles, to show me and to build resilience in those phases of my life, because everyone is going through them. No matter if you are me and you call yourself a spiritual leadership mentor, or if you are a kindergartner who needs to be happy and strong for the children, or if you are like anybody else, everyone goes through these phases, no matter your position, no matter your profession, no matter your mission, no matter your soul connection. You will always have these dips in life, and that is not meant to stop you from your light worker mission, from expressing what you need to express. And I realized, like, oh my God, maybe expressing myself in that energy where I didn't feel 100% myself, maybe that was my initiation to level up. And like I said, this spiritual awakening deepens in ways you wouldn't expect. So that was the one thing that I didn't expect, to go through a phase where I didn't feel good about myself and about my work and about, I was doubting everything, even though it was not bad or anything. I was just in a constant flow of overthinking. I was overthinking everything. I was doubting everything. I was comparing myself a lot. I was feeling like I did not enough, or I was not enough to be in the position that I am. And I obviously realized that this is not true, and that this was a symptom of me not feeling my best. But the other thing that also deepened my connection again, and that came just as unexpected, was that I, for some reason, stumbled across quantum energy and quantum medicine and frequency medicine. And my first initial thought was, oh my God, everything's called quantum right now. Like, come up with something new. So I wasn't even taking it seriously. But because of the health situation in my family, I was reaching for every straw. So, without giving away too much, my family is very open to alternative medicine, to alternative remedies. We are not closed off to conventional medicine, and I'm really grateful it's here because it saved my life a couple of times. I'm not anti conventional medicine, but I'm really, really open and really interested in alternative ways. And I stumbled across this quantum medicine, and I feel like it was meant to be. It was obviously because I was in a research hole, in a like a little rabbit hole of researching about health stuff and things that were relevant at that time for this family member. And for some reason, this popped up, and I found a community and a lot of teachers, not actual teachers who offer teachings, but a lot of people I connected with who became my teachers. And I learned a lot about quantum energy, about quantum medicine, about frequency medicine. I realized how much is going on behind the scenes that the usual person is not aware of. And I realized, oh my God, this is actually going somewhere. This is not just some woo-woo people making things up or talking about like these magical remedies that are not doing anything other than placebo. No, it really opened a whole door for me, like this portal I walked through, and I felt like in some kind of way I switched timeline because I connected with so many people who have been using and learning about this medicine, this frequency medicine, and all these things that are part of it for so many years. And I didn't even know they existed. So we definitely live in different timelines at all times. And I felt like I switched the timeline a little bit, and I learned a lot about this. And this topic came to me at the beginning of last year, so in the beginning of 2024. Not in the beginning, but like in April or something like that. And ever since, I was learning a lot. I'm fully in the quantum energy rabbit hole now, and I know that it sounds like, oh my God, like quantum energy, it's so overused, blah, 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 blah. But trust me, like the people who call everything a quantum, whatever, quantum money manifestation course, quantum healing session, quantum painting, whatever it is, like there's so much stuff out there. And I'm not saying everything is just a name, but a lot of it is just a name, and they don't have the connection to like the real scientific perspective behind it. And yes, I said scientific. There you go. I said scientific because there have been studies made where this quantum energy has been proven to work on the human body. And I feel like the mainstream is not fully ready for that, or we are in the very early stages of learning about this. But I'm really grateful that this portal opened for me, and it completely revitalized my own connection. And it completely, I don't know how to say it, like when you are on a spiritual journey for so long, you have so much wisdom without trying to sound arrogant or anything, but you have a lot of wisdom. You have a lot of things that you understand. And over the years, you puzzle so many things together, and you almost go into that state of, okay, I understand the world better than the average person, and I always know how everything is connected to everything else. Like I said, I'm not saying this from an arrogant standpoint. I'm saying this from a confident standpoint because I trust my wisdom. I trust my truth. I don't have to hide it. But that's how you feel a lot of the times. And then a completely new topic pops up for you, and something completely new that you can learn. And you realize, oh my God, this has been a missing puzzle piece here. This has been a missing puzzle piece here. And it all starts to make even more sense. And you realize, if I would have found out about this wisdom that I now dive into a couple of years ago, I wouldn't even have realized how valuable it is, because all the other information that I needed to know before that wouldn't have made sense. And that was how I felt. I felt like, oh my God, a new puzzle piece to the big puzzle of uncovering the mysteries of the universe. Literally, that's how it felt like. And I've been working with quantum devices, especially with a company that I've learned to trust a lot and that I've, yeah, explored for myself. And as you can see, I'm wearing their necklace right now. I'm not gonna share too much about them because I probably will make another video about these devices. But what I want to say is that it completely made sense that I went through this entire shit year, and it eventually brought me back to my cosmic self more than ever. And I feel more powerful than ever to be in my magnetic, radiant energy again. I even like hung up a new background today because I felt like I need a new vibrant era for myself. And I don't know how long it's gonna be up because I really like my usual background too. But I just needed a refresher for today. I was planning on making this a very structured talk and giving you a lot of advice and being a lot more like a teacher in this and sharing what I've learned through my own struggles. And what it turned out to be is a completely raw, uncut, almost uncut share of me talking about 2024 and how shitty it was and what the empowerment from that was. So I hope you connect with that. I hope there's still value in it. And I hope it frees you from thinking that something is wrong with you or that you are disconnected, that you are stagnant, that things are not moving forward. Whatever place you are in right now, I hope that my story and my shares inspire you to find empowerment in whatever you are going through right now. Like I said, was not planned to be this open, to be this vulnerable, but I feel like that is part of my medicine because it's also something that I struggle with as a creator. I share too little about who I am. I share this knowledge that I have, I share the wisdom, I share what I do in a spiritual sense, but I feel like you don't really know who I am. And I really want to change that. So that felt really good. If you like this video and if you want to stay connected with me here on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, give a thumbs up, and also connect with me on Instagram and TikTok. And you can also, if you want, add your email address to my newsletter. I send out emails once a week at least, maybe twice. No spam, only value. So make sure to add yourself to the list if you're not already on it. I will see you next week, and until then, have a beautiful time.